Today it's how can Jets and Harley Bentons and Earts and all those cheap guitar brands make such good guitars at such a low price. Hello and welcome to another video that I didn't plan on making actually, because I'm on a break. My name is Elmo and it's good to have you along. Yes, I am on a break, but I saw something by Phil McKnight today that I just had to talk about this, because the purpose of this channel and my lesson channel is to help and or inspire you so that you in turn can help and or inspire other people, thus making the world a better place, spreading kindness. And the thing with the Phil McKnight video was some of the stuff I've known for quite a while and some of the stuff I've kind of suspected. And when Phil McKnight talks about something, I listen, because he knows a lot and he doesn't need my help to get more views, but I'll leave his video in the description. And I made this because lots of you probably watch his channel, but maybe some of you don't. So this is kind of an ad for all cheap guitars that are kind of exclusively budget-friendly guitars, or the companies are. And the thing with Earts, Harley Bentons, Fireflies, I haven't tried a Firefly, but I will, Jets, is that they don't do advertising. This is something that I've known for quite a while, which means that they can pass that saving on to you. That brings the price of one Jet or one Harley Benton down quite a bit, or at least a bit. Another thing that most of them don't do is that they don't go through dealers. So Eart doesn't sell via dealers as far as I know. Harley Benton only sells via Thomann. Jet does sell via dealers. Most of the guitars that you can buy, the cheap guitars, they're not sold via dealers. The good ones, that is. Anyway, so many of the cheap, good guitars that you can buy out there are not sold through dealers, so they can pass that saving on to you. But the big thing is that the price of import guitars, I'm talking about from an American's perspective now, import guitars into the US, the price of those are inflated. Now this is something that I've suspected for ages, but Phil McKnight said that making a guitar in, let's say this is made in Indonesia, I don't know where it's made actually, making this or making a Squier or making a Fender or making a Gibson in Indonesia costs the same amount. Of course there'll be some variation depending upon parts and so on, but roughly the same amounts of money. Then you add in the advertising and the dealers, but that doesn't explain the difference. If you buy this Jet, this costs around 200 euros, and you buy a Squier Telly of the same price, the Squier will be hugely inferior. This is on a par with a Fender Player Series Telecaster. It might actually be a bit better. I've had a Fender Player Telecaster. I sold it because I got a Harley Benton, which was just as good, way cheaper. Then I got this, and this was a bit better than the Harley Benton. So I sold the Harley Benton. The price, and the thing that you have, or the way that he explained it, Phil McKnight explained it like this. They have these companies like Fender, Gibson, and PRS, I think, was one. They have the custom shop stuff, which costs obscene amounts of money. Then they have the Fender. Then they have the made in America stuff, which is pretty standard kind of standard stuff. Well, in the case of Les Pauls, they're standard. I'm gonna cite some prices for you soon. And then they have the import stuff, which costs a bit less, but a bit more than this. So I had a look on Thomann at what Les Pauls costs, and the most expensive one was 10,000 Human dollars or euros. 10,000. Who pays 10,000 for a guitar? You have to be absolutely mental, or you have to be loaded, or preferably both. Absolutely bonkers and loaded, and maybe a collector. And then he said, Phil McKnight said, that if you order from a custom shop, you'll have to wait 2 years. If you order from a high-end guitar maker from their custom shop, they will not take 2 years. They will take half that time, or maybe just a quarter of the time, because otherwise they wouldn't make any money. So the really expensive stuff, they're not really making any money off of that. The big companies that do imports. Then they have the made in America stuff. Well, or the pricing goes, then you had a 57, that was a 59 lemon burst Les Paul, that was 10,000. 57 gold top, 8,222. You had 59 Les Paul, 7,499 euros. And then we get into the standard stuff. Gibson Les Paul 58 standard, 6,199 euros. That's what you have to pay for a standard guitar. They also had a kind of regular standard thing. Gibson Les Paul standard 50s, which it was cheap. It's 2,590 euros. So what about the Epiphones? There was an Epiphone Les Paul modern figured 815 euros, and then an Epiphone Les Paul standard 50s, which was 715 euros and at a slight discount at the moment. 709 euros. Did I say 19 or 15? 709, sorry, euros, which is around a quarter of the made in America thing. And the reason why these cost so much, and Phil McKnight mentioned 25%, that the import stuff is usually around 25% of the made in America stuff. It's a tenth. It's under a tenth of the expensive one. You can pay 10 times that money and still not get the most expensive Gibson. But the reason why the pricing goes like this, according to Phil McKnight, is that imagine if this costs the same, roughly, as this. Imagine it costs 300. They couldn't charge those exorbitant prices for some of the custom shop stuff. The pricing wouldn't work. It means that they've just added a bunch of price onto an Epiphone. And just pure profit, basically. Which is fine. I'm not... if you can do that and get away with it, then just do that. In terms of Fender, it's a bit different because Fender have Squier and they make some really cheap stuff. But that's really beginner stuff. They also have the kind of similar import stuff. They have the Fender Standard. They have the Fender Player. And they have the Squier Classic vibe. And I'm suspecting that the prices are pretty much similar kind of thing. And then they have the Squier Sonic and Squier Affinity, which are around this kind of price. And they're absolutely horrible compared to this. So if you're thinking about getting one of those import guitars, give one of these a try first. You can always send it back, or make sure you can send it back. Or if you happen to live close to a dealership that sells jets, go and try one. Harley Bentons you can send back. If you live in the US, I know, postage and all that. You can do Firefly guitars, which I've heard are good. I can't recommend them because I haven't tried them, but I'm reporting what I've heard from pretty reliable sources as well. I have made this channel such that I buy the gear that I review most of the time, so that you people will trust me. I don't have a vested interest in saying that you should buy a Jet or that you should buy an Eart. I do have a bit of a vested interest in saying that you should try a Harley Benton, because if you go via my link in the description, the Harley Benton, and buy a Harley Benton, I will get a percentage of that. At no extra cost to you, by the way. So I have kind of a vested interest. I feel I have to say that, because I want to be completely transparent, and I want to help you. And for me to help you, you have to trust me. So I'm not trying to sell you garbage. Personally, I've had good experiences with Thomann. Never had any issues with those, with them. I have had some issues with their Harley Bentons, especially the really cheap stuff. But once you go around about 200 euros, it's pretty solid stuff. You can still get a stinker, of course. I mean, if you get Squire Affinity and a similarly priced Jet, the Jet might be worse, but if you get 10 of each, the Jets are in general going to be way better than the Squires. That's at least my experience. If you want to give your money to those big corporations and get basically nothing in return, go and buy the import stuff. The made in Mexico, made in Indonesia stuff. If you want to pay less money and get just as good of a guitar, try one of the Eart Jets, Harley Bentons. Eart does some good stuff. I have a video with some cheap guitars that I recommend, which is here. I'm not sure if it contains a Squire. It might. But I've learned so much more over the course of particularly this year. If you want to support the channel, like I said, there is a link in the description where you can do so. Remember to check out Phil McKnight's video, because he is good, and when he speaks, I trust him. So yeah. I hope you found this interesting and or helpful, useful. Be kind to each other. Take care. Goodbye.